Okay, so it looks like we are live. This is Giovanny, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. Today I'm being joined again by my little brother Matthew.
What's good?
And what we will be doing today, we're doing our very first episode of a new show that is called Fan Casting of. So in this case, we're going to do the MCU X-Men. So that's going to be a new show that we're going to do live. Depending on how this goes, I'll be making more of them, whatever the case might be. So this is the very first episode. We're going to talk about some fan casting of what the X-Men might look like in the MCU. So this is going to be my list. Matthew didn't get a chance to make his own list, but this is going to be the official movie canon X-Men fan cast list. There's only 8 X-Men characters for now. Like I said, if this video does well, I'll do more X-Men characters, and of course more franchises like Fantastic Four, Batman, Superman, whatever. So this is the very first one here. So before we do that, there is a Spider-Man Funko Pop giveaway that was announced, I think, December 31st when we did the top 2022 films. And I will announce a winner today, so keep an eye out for that. And as I mentioned earlier, there is going to be a new Funko Pop giveaway. It's going to be an X-Men giveaway, and I'll give you the announcement sometime today in this stream. If you're watching live, your name will be entered twice, assuming you have followed all the other instructions of entering a Funko giveaway. I posted a new guideline as to how you can enter for a new Funko Pop giveaway with the movie canon. There's some details there. There's the minimum requirements, so just read that. A lot of people are posting comments in the post of how to enter a giveaway. That's not what I'm actually having you guys do. So just read it thoroughly, and then you'll be able to enter here. So the very first thing that we're going to do here is, as mentioned, fan casting of X-Men. And before we do that, Matthew, do you have any thoughts on X-Men in general, real quick?
The X-Men are cool. They're very there's less of them than there should be in media nowadays.
Okay, so as we already know, when it comes to the X-Men, we all are expecting the MCU Marvel Studios to introduce a new version of X-Men. When we talk about the fan casting for today, there's a lot of information that we do not know. So we don't know which way the X-Men are coming in. Are they going to use some kind of a timeline that they're going to take from? Are they going to use another universe? Have the X-Men already existed in the MCU? We just haven't seen them before. Like, how are they going to explain that? So that's part of the trickiness when it comes to the X-Men characters here, because we don't know what the Marvel Studios is going to do. In the past, they've did certain things in the MCU that maybe contradicts some of the characters that were established in the comics, so it may not really work in this Marvel Studios universe. So it'll be tricky to really try to kind of guess as to what kind of X-Men character is going to be in the MCU. So what I did, I just kind of relied on, the original X-Men movie and the cartoon, the one from the 90s that I used to watch when I was younger. And I kind of relied on that. So kind of like basing it on that and creating like a whole new X-Men universe, or whatever the case might be there. And I don't know what ages they're going to come in. Maybe they're younger, they're older. I think they're probably going to stay more to the how the first X-Men was, around that age, around there. So we'll see how that goes there. So are you ready, Matthew, to begin this fan casting of the X-Men?
Sure.
All right, so let's see here. So let's see. So starting off, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I feel like there was something else I was going to introduce or mention, but now I forgot. But again, this is the fan casting of MCU X-Men, and we're going to begin with the very first character here, and this is Jean Grey. So Jean Grey, I'm not going to go into the background of each character because, like I said, I don't know which way the Marvel Studios is going to come in from, so I don't really want to give a backstory of the characters. Plus, it'll take me a long time to do anyway. But what I want to do is I want to introduce the character. This is Jean Grey. As a lot of us know, it's a very powerful, I was going to say something else, a mutant. A very powerful mutant, if not the most powerful. I think it's just one of the most powerful ones. But we've seen her in the original X-Men trilogies, obviously in the comics, obviously in the animated series, and then eventually she turns into the Dark Phoenix and so on. So this is Jean Grey, and what I'm going to do with these characters, I am going to mention the powers and abilities of each of these characters we'll be talking about today. So let's begin by introducing the first one here. So we have Jean Grey, a huge ass list of her powers. So here are some of them. Control over the emotions, feelings, and sensations. Alteration over the emotions, feelings, and sensations. Manipulation over the emotions, feelings, and sensations. Mind link, mind control, memory, alteration, telepathic shield, telepathic illusions, telepathic camouflage, force field, telekinetic weapons, psychic siphoning, probably mispronouncing that, siphoning, psychic resistance, psychic energy blast, and as the Dark Phoenix, cosmic fire creation, cosmic fire manipulation, matter manipulation, and atomic level, resurrection, teleportation, immortality. So I mean, this is a very powerful mutant, and this is always going to be a big cast, a big casting, I should say, when it comes to the new X-Men in the MCU. Just very quickly, Matthew, any thoughts on Jean Grey in general?
She's cool. Of course she becomes like evil and stuff, which is also cool.
As Dark Phoenix?
Yes.
As Dark Phoenix, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to introduce the very first casting here of Jean Grey, and I decided Rachel Evan Wood as Jean Grey. So this is the actress that I would choose if I was the one casting the X-Men MCU, and as you see in the image, obviously she looks a little bit like Jean Grey, although that's necessarily required, but if you look at this image, I see Jean Grey in there, I see Dark Phoenix. A lot of the picks that I have here are also based on acting ability. Some of them are better than others, but you can all assume that whoever I picked here, they're pretty good acting wise. So I picked Rachel Evan Wood. She was in the film 13 from many years ago. I think it came out like in 2003. I think that's when she was first introduced into cinemas or in the movies or whatever. She was also in the show True Blood, and she was also in the show what's the name of that show that was just canceled? Westworld. So she was in Westworld. So it says ERM19 is saying, who else has played Jean Grey? I forget the actress's name, but you know, in the original X-Men movies, she was also in Taken. So Barbie just said her ERM19 said Westworld. So yeah, so Westworld, she's in Westworld. So I think she was a good choice here for Jean Grey. I don't know if obviously Marvel Studios is going to pick her, but that was my choice. Have you seen this actress before, Matthew? Do you even recognize her at all?
No, I have no idea who this is.
You don't even know who the actress is at all?
Nope.
So you haven't watched any of her movies, 13 or even Westworld then?
Nope, I have not.
All right. So that's Jean Grey, so that's who I picked here, Rachel Evan Wood. All right, so the next one here, let's see, who was my next one? Next one is Iceman. Okay, so when it comes to Iceman, there's a couple things there. There's different versions of this character. I think the most recent one is that he's a LGBTQ plus character, and I kind of use that a bit when it comes to the casting, but I think they may go with that route with this version of Iceman. Before we saw him in the original, I was going to say Star Wars, the original X-Men trilogy. So I'm going to talk about his powers here. So here are the powers of Mr. Iceman. Oh, Matthew, do you have any thoughts on Iceman?
I like Iceman. He's kind of goofy, I think.
He's kind of goofy, and
Yeah.
that's based on the movies.
Um, well, for me, it's mostly off of the Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh,
With
okay.
what's his name?
So here are the Iceman powers and abilities: pyrokinesis, hydrokinesis, thermokinesis. I feel like I'm pronouncing this very, very wrong. Uh, thermokinesis, maybe? Cellular reconstruction, ability to assume an enhanced physical form made of ice or water. So those are some of the powers and abilities of Iceman. And for this choice, I actually have a couple, a couple of them in here. And here's the one that I'm definitely not going with, but I would have picked this actor as Iceman initially. And this is Ty Simpkins as Iceman. I totally see him as that. He was in The Whale. That's when I recently saw him in the film The Whale. But I realized that he's already in the MCU.
He is?
He's already the kid from Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
So he's playing him already. So I was like, okay, so I can't use him. But I think he would have been good now that he's older. He probably fits the role there. But that was initially my thought, but that's not going to work. So then the next one I thought of this guy here, Nick Jonas as Iceman. And acting wise, he has decent acting chops. We've seen him in a lot of big movies like Jumanji and some other shows. I can't remember the name of that one show. I think there's a King. I think it's Kingdom, when he plays like a MMA fighter or something like that. And some of the movies that he's been, big Hollywood movies that he's in, and I think he'll be fine in this. It just really depends on how old they want Iceman to be, because if we go back to Ty Simpkins, this is more like a younger Iceman, and this was a little older. But the one that I think that they may actually go with, if they push the LGBTQ plus version of Iceman, is Justice Smith as Iceman, because he himself is part of that community. And not necessarily that he has to be to play the character, but who knows, maybe they'll want to choose him. And I've seen, around articles and commentary and stuff like that, that Justice Smith might be a good Iceman. He's in a lot of movies. Justice Smith.
It's the guy from
He was in Jurassic
Pokemon?
World. Yeah, right. He's in Detective Pikachu. So he's in Detective Pikachu, and
He's gonna be in Dungeons and Dragons. I
oh,
think.
right, he's going to be in Dungeons and Dragons. And there's a new movie that just is about to come out on Apple TV Plus. I forgot what's the name of that movie. I just saw the trailer of it with Julianne Moore and Sebastian Stan, and he's in that Apple Plus TV movie. So he has some work coming up. So he's kind of relevant right now in Hollywood. So maybe they'll pick him. So that's going to be my choice for Iceman. That's Justice Smith. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. And the next X-Men character is Jubilee, as you can see the image, and you can see my image. So Jubilee, she was seen a lot in the cartoon mainly. I don't even think they've introduced her at all in the movies. But I thought that eventually they would cast this character at one point, but I don't think they ever did. But let's get into the powers. Actually, Matthew, your thoughts on Jubilee? Do you even know about it?
I know very little about Jubilee. She's not really a popular X-Men in
Right.
recent times.
Right, and the reason why I'm even mentioning her is because it feels like Hollywood is kind of like accommodating, or like, yeah, I guess I can say accommodating a lot of the millennials. And X-Men in the 90s, the animated show, had Jubilee in it. So I think because they didn't use her in the X-Men films, and again, I don't remember if she was in the X-Men films. I don't remember her being in that movie trilogy at all. But I think they may actually put her in the MCU X-Men. So this is Jubilee, and I think maybe they'll put her in there. But when it comes to the casting that I'm going to do for Jubilee, it's a bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen Scream 5. So just a little warning there. Okay, so here are her powers. and I'm always have trouble pronouncing some of these words. Just warning you now. Pyrotechnic explosive energy blasts. Okay, so ability to temporarily blind others, ability to create powerful explosions, ability to detonate matter at a subatomic level, a psionic shield, I probably mispronounced that word, skilled hand-to-hand combat. That's Jubilee. Okay, so actually this went black for a little bit. Okay, so this is who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Mikey Madison as Jubilee. So she is, spoiler everyone, spoiler if you haven't seen Scream 5, she is one of the Ghostface killers. And I was researching and like, okay, well, this character has a bit of a Chinese ancestry and so on, Asian. I don't know if she's Chinese or not, but the look of her, I see Jubilee. She was in a big franchise, Scream. Have you actually recognized her in anything else, Matthew?
No.
Okay, so I've only seen her in this, but she was fine. I mean, necessarily agree with her being, Ghostface in Scream 5, but
Yeah.
whatever. But she was fine in it. I think she'll be good with a small role, like an introduction of Jubilee and the X-Men MCU. So that's my casting of Jubilee. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. Let's see. Who is the next one? Hold on a sec. Oh, Storm. Storm. Now, Storm has an interesting first name, which I have to read, and I always forget how to pronounce it. But Storm, popular X-Men character in the original trilogy. Halle Berry portrayed her. She was in the First Class X-Men, so she's in there. So I expect her to be in this X-Men MCU version. And as far as her powers, let's see what kind of powers she has. So she has quite a bit in there. And Matthew, any thoughts on Storm?
Well, for the MCU casting, I imagine they might go younger because, of course, she's a love interest for T'Challa, Black Panther. And so I feel like they might want to keep her younger so when the other... spoilers for Black Panther. The new T'Challa, when he ages up, they could possibly do something with that, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense, yeah. I don't know if that fits with my choices here, but... Because, I mean, I just don't know if they're going to take that route, that Black Panther route or not, because it's not T'Challa in the MCU now. It's the son, so I guess they could adapt that and include that. I guess that could probably work. But here are the powers Storm has, her powers and abilities. Expert, tactician, and thief. A psionic ability to manipulate weather patterns over vast area. Control, I'm going to have problem pronouncing this. Atmospheric pressure, temperature modification, ecological empathy, fight. A lightning manipulation. Immunity to lightning. Limited immunity to extreme cold and heat. Aerial adaptation. So that's Storm. I don't know if I could even hear that at all. That's my little sound effect there. Okay, so when it comes to the casting of Storm, I had chosen an actress that I would go with, right? But I actually changed my mind in the last minute. So let's go with the first one that I had for a long time. So I had picked, I don't know if you pronounce it Nathalie or Natalie Emmanuel as Storm. So I had picked her for a long time, and I was like, she's going to be the one that's going to play Storm. And that, like I said, I just changed my mind recently. But she will be a younger Storm, not T'Challa's son, young, yeah. But she'll be like a younger Storm. She was from Game of Thrones, and she was in that bad movie, The Invitation, that came out last year. But I see her as Storm. And do you recognize this actress at all, Matthew?
I think so, but I'm not sure from what exactly.
Because I know you haven't really seen Game of Thrones, right?
No.
Okay, so you don't recognize her from there. So she was my choice for the longest time. But then I thought about it more, and then I was like, wait, maybe this actress will be better at this. And then I picked Janelle Monáe as Storm. And she's from Glass Onion. a Knives Out story. So again, depending on how old they want to make Storm, I think she would be a good choice. And as I was reading some articles earlier, apparently she wants to be this character. Now that's not enough to get the role, right? But I mean, I think she kind of fits a lot of. She checks a lot of those boxes. She has the look. She's an actress. We just saw her in Glass Onion, which she wasn't bad at. She's popular. People recognize her name or like her. She wants to be in it. So I mean, there's just a lot of things going for her. So that's my pick for Storm. So far, Matthew, any of your thoughts on my choices here on the movie canon's official list of MCU X-Men?
They all look like they're counterparts.
How about acting wise?
Well, I know Janelle Monáe is a very good actor. She technically played two characters in Glass Onion.
Right. Yeah.
I think she would make a good Storm because you do need someone with better acting skills, and she is a more popular X-Men.
Yep. So you agree with her casting?
Sure.
Well, my casting. It's not the official casting.
The official.
All right, so let's move on to the next one here. What's the next one? Oh, Cyclops. Cyclops is a big popular character in the X-Men, and he was in the original trilogy. And Cyclops was my favorite character of the X-Men for a long time. He's not anymore. Frankly, I don't even know who it is. Maybe Wolverine. But for a long time, he was my favorite X-Men character. But let's talk about his abilities. So let's see. Let me get the little list here. Okay, so where is it? Oh, here it is. Here are the powers and abilities of Scott Summers, aka Cyclops. Optic Blasts, Master Tactician, Strategist and Field Commander, Skilled Martial Artist, and Hand-to-Hand Combatant. So he's the leader of X-Men for a long time. Like I mentioned, he used a lot of the X-Men media, the cartoons from the 90s, the trilogy, and so on. So I think he's going to be selected here. I think he's going to be one of the main cast in the X-Men MCU version of it. Matthew, let's do this. If you even have an ability, or not an ability, if you have any thought of like who would you cast as Cyclops? Just like, I know you didn't really prepare for this.
Well, when I was thinking about this just now, kind of what went to my head was Ryan Gosling, honestly, to play Cyclops.
Ryan Gosling. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a bad choice at all. I believe I heard that he might have already been cast for something.
As
in,
Ghost Rider, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what it is? I heard Ghost Rider and also some character in I think a villain in Thunderbolt or something. I don't know if that's true or not. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors going around.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling is not on my list,
Wow.
but let's see who I would cast. So there's a couple people, and let me go back to the little image here. He's coming back here. I already introduced him before for another character, Nick Jonas again, as Scott Summers, Cyclops. He's not my first choice. It just really depends. Like again, depends on the age. Which version of Cyclops are they bringing in? A younger one, an older one? Based on the way the MCU is going right now, it looks like they're probably not going to start filming any Mutants X-Men movie anytime too soon. It still might be a few years away.
Yeah.
Because of the slate that we already have, all the way to 2026, I think. So I don't know if the X-Men is going to be introduced in Phase 5 or Phase 6, or maybe not into Phase 7. So if they were to cast Nick Jonas as Scott Summers Cyclops, it gives him a few years in, so he'll look a little older. Because right now he still looks kind of young. I think he's like in his late 20s, early 30s, around there. So if they're going to pick someone who's like the leader or whatever the case, maybe a few years later, he can fit the role. I already mentioned the acting chops. He's popular. We've seen him in other films. Kind of like Iceman. But he's not my first choice, but who knows? Maybe they'll cast him. We'll see. But the main choice that I picked here is this guy, Glenn Powell, as Scott Summers, Cyclops. He was in Top Gun Maverick recently, and I believe he was in Devotion. which a lot of people didn't watch, myself included. So I think a lot of people are interested in this particular actor to portray Scott Summers' Cyclops. He obviously has the look. You can totally think of him as a leader. That's another image of Glenn Powell as Cyclops from Top Gun Maverick. So this will be my pick. So Glenn Powell as Cyclops. Any thoughts on this, Matthew?
I think he did a pretty good job in Top Gun. I would not have a problem with this casting actually.
You don't have an issue if tomorrow they announce that Glenn Powell is going to be Cyclops in the new X-Men movie, whatever version it is.
No, I wouldn't think I would.
Okay, and he's popular right now because Top Gun Maverick was very popular and made a lot of money. So I think it's kind of like an obvious choice. Like you wouldn't even think twice. Like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Glenn Powell as Cyclops. But there are other characters in the MCU that may be cast later on, like Fantastic Four, which if I do end up doing a Fantastic Four fan casting of, Glenn Powell might be in there. But yeah, so that's my choice here. So again, Glenn Powell as Scott Summers. Okay, the next one here, this is the one that I don't even have an alternative. This is who I want to see as Gambit. There's no question about it. Sadly enough, I will be disappointed if they don't cast this actor as Gambit, but you can't always expect certain things because you don't know what the situation is. But let's talk about his powers. Gambit. Okay, so he has a good amount of powers there. As you see on the list here, a lot of them are there. Okay, again, I'm going to try to pronounce these as best I can. Kinetic energy generation and manipulation. Superhuman physical attributes via kinetic energy channeling. Highly skilled martial artist and hand-to-hand combatant, I should say. Expert marksman, stick fighter, and acrobat. Telepathic immunity via charge potential energy. Irresistible hypnotic charm. I don't know is that an actual power? A master card thrower. Okay, yeah. Self-charging, static generation, precognitive abilities while blinded. All right, so we have that. We have Chino Cakes 982 saying, "Hey, what's up? Hello there, Chino Cakes 982." I think he's one. ERM19 saying, "Let me guess, Nick Jonas." That I'm going to pick Nick Jonas again. Okay. All right, so there's no more Nick Jonas in my casting. Just so you guys know, little spoiler there. That's it for Nick Jonas. So this is who. Oh, actually, Matthew, any thoughts on Gambit? Or
I really like Gambit actually. I feel like, funnily enough, I feel like Zac Efron could play Gambit or Dacre Montgomery as well. Those would be my two choices.
You know, I didn't think about Zac Efron. Although I still stick to my choice because I think my choice is still
we'll see
a little better in my opinion, anyways. Okay, so this is my choice here, and we have Austin Butler as Gambit, who just recently played Elvis. Probably gonna get an Oscar nomination, maybe even win. So I think just the way that he sounds, his accent in Elvis, I think he can portray. You can finally portray this character Gambit because it's like a Cajun type of accent. It's kind of hard to do, and they haven't really done anything good with this character yet in the movies. I think he was introduced in Wolverine. Like the actor who played Gambit in Wolverine Origins, he was fine, but he wasn't something that I would really expect him to play, and he was alright. He wasn't too bad, but this is who I would pick as Gambit. And then there's another image here of him. It's not really that good, but Austin Butler as Gambit. So that's my choice. I don't have an alternative. Matthew, your thoughts on this?
I would not be mad at this actually. That didn't even cross my mind.
Oh, it didn't even cross your mind at all?
No.
Yeah, because when I thought of it, it was like Austin Butler is like, yeah, I totally see him as Gambit. Why not? He's a good actor. I think he can portray the accent. He has the look. He was just in a big movie. He's in the awards buzz. season right now. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Again, it really depends on what version of Gambit they want to introduce, and I think this character, I think he portrays another mutant name or another different character. I think it's like Death or something like that. But I'm just talking about Gambit right now, since they haven't really done any justice to this character. So that's Gambit, Austin Butler. That's my choice. The movie canon's official fan casting choice of Gambit. All right, so we're gonna move on to this character is not an X-Men character per se. He's not part of X-Men, but he's an X-Men character, and this is Magneto. So the villain, Magneto. For this one, when it comes to the next couple fan casting choices here, there's only so limited when it comes to, well, you'll see what I mean right now. Let's talk about the powers of Magneto here. Oh, Matthew, your thoughts on Magneto? So real quick.
Well, Magneto's cool. I like his character, especially with his Jewish background. I'm not really sure who would be a good pick for him, because you obviously need a big name, someone who can play someone quite evil, but also not.
Quite evil, but not sure what.
But not also not evil.
Okay. All right. So here are the powers and abilities of Magneto. Genius level intellect, magnetism manipulation, astral projection, psychic shield via helmet. There's actually not much in there, but he's one of the main guys in there. Another comment here from Atek or eight. Is it Atek 21? Michael Fassbender, hands down. Right. So Michael Fassbender portrayed Magneto in the First Class X-Men. I don't think they're going to bring some of that cast back. But like I said, we don't know what they're doing with the X-Men. Are they going to bring in X-Men from another universe, meaning they'll keep the original first class, as I mean the James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender? Are they going to bring that group back and just put them into the MCU, or are they going to completely reboot X-Men? That's kind of what I'm thinking. That they're going to reboot the X-Men, even though they are using Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3. But I think that's kind of a thing that they're bringing him from a different timeline, and I don't know if it'll apply to this, because I think Hugh Jackman is only doing Wolverine one more time, plus he is older, so he's not going to restart a whole franchise as Wolverine in an MCU X-Men. So that's why I don't think it'll be Michael Fassbender, because I think they're just going to reboot everything, but there's a possibility they could do that. And let's see, so I already read the powers and abilities here. So I only have one, actually no, I have two, but I don't have an image for the second one. This is the main one one of the main ones that I would choose. And of course, Giancarlo Esposito as Eric Lensher, Magneto. So Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto, I think it's a good choice. The other character that I'm going to fan cast in just a bit could be interchangeable with this, so I'll hold on that. So right now, my only choice right now is Giancarlo Esposito. Of course, like I said, I don't know what the MCU is going to do when it comes to his Jewish background with the Holocaust and stuff like that, because I don't know what version of Magneto they're going to bring in, because if he's supposed to be a survivor of the Holocaust, so the character should be really, really old if we're going to bring him into this MCU. So I'm thinking maybe they'll do a different origin, which I know a lot of people are not going to like, with this character. And I've seen theories about this, that maybe they could pick an African-American actor to portray Magneto, and maybe they'll use some kind of historical thing, injustice that we've heard about, like the Rwanda genocide, or even the civil rights stuff. So they can use a Magneto to kind of have that buildup of hatred towards humanity, maybe, because I've heard that before, and that could fit. So that's why I'm picking Giancarlo Esposito. But what are your thoughts on Giancarlo?
I was gonna disagree with you because, like you said, his Jewish background is really important to his character. But then you said like we could build up his hatred to society with another like you said the Rwanda genocide. So I think as long as they include something that's like him being oppressed and like everyone around him getting murdered, basically, I feel like it could work.
All right. Let's see. We have ATEC 21. What about Idris Elba as Bishop? Yeah, I mean, possibly. That could probably work. Like, again, depends on the age. Because I know Idris Elba's... I mean, he's not that old, but he's older. So maybe they could use that. And what was the other comment that he made here? Or what about the actor that played Dr. Fate in Black Adam as Magneto? Dr. Fate, isn't that Pierce Brosnan?
I think so.
Pierce Brosnan, yeah. Again, Pierce Brosnan is definitely older.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely older. I don't know if he'll be able to, do a whole franchise with Magneto because he's gonna have to be in a lot of movies. And actually, I don't even know how old Giancarlo Esposito is, but I think Pierce Brosnan is much older. But I could be wrong. But that's my choice, Giancarlo Esposito. But like I mentioned here, one of the other characters that I'm about to introduce as a fan casting could come back here as Magneto. I'll tell you guys in a bit. Okay, so the next one here is Professor X, Charles Xavier. Of course, this character needs to be cast. I'm sure it's going to be one of the main ones here. So we've had James McAvoy portray the First Class, a version of him. And we have Patrick Stewart from Star Trek fame, I guess you can say. So we've had those two actors here. So my choice here, or actually Matthew, what are your thoughts on Charles Xavier?
Charles Xavier, I'm not exactly sure who could play him. I would like to say Giancarlo Esposito, but I feel like it's important for this one character to make him a white man because he's supposed to be kind of like entitled in a way.
Oh, like privilege or something?
Yeah, privileged.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what we have here. Oh, the powers, the powers and abilities of Professor X. Genius level intellect, just like Magneto. Powerful psychic abilities, including ESP, telepathy, and mental manipulation, telekinesis via X headgear. So those are the powers and abilities, at least the main ones, the very common ones, of the character here. And this is the first one I'm going to select here, but it's not going to be necessarily the final one. And that's Mark Strong as Professor Charles Xavier. He was the villain of Shazam, and he was I believe he was in Tar, the film that just came out not too long ago. It's in the Oscar circles right now, or the Oscar buzz circles right now. I think he played one of the characters in Tar with Cate Blanchett. So I kind of see him doing Professor Charles Xavier. Let's say they cast Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto, and then we have this guy here. So it's not too bad of a choice there. Do you have any thoughts on this character or this actor?
I forgot this guy was the guy who played him in Shazam, but I could see this working possibly.
Okay, so here's my final casting. This is the one that I really want. Giancarlo Esposito as Professor Charles Xavier. Okay, so I definitely do see him as Charles Xavier. I think he could still fit in the privilege thing. It can be
Maybe.
like a British man or whatever, and still be in a privilege and not white, but a privilege. And I mean, I see him. I see him as Charles Xavier. I wanted him as Magneto too, but I just don't want Giancarlo Esposito to be typecast as a villain because he's played villain a lot.
Yeah, every single role basically.
And that's Breaking Bad, so on. And then the boys. He's kind of like a villain, not maybe, but I totally see him here as Charles Xavier. He's a good actor. I think he wants to play this character. Like I said, that's not the requisite of getting a role that the actor wants X character, no pun intended. But that's something I totally see. So that's Charles Xavier. And as I mentioned earlier, there's these two actors, Mark Strong, Giancarlo Esposito. I don't care in which combination, but I'm fine either way. Either Giancarlo Esposito as Charles Xavier and Mark Strong as Magneto. Or the other way around. Mark Strong as Professor Charles Xavier and Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto. So that combo I'm totally cool with. Totally fine with. But I'll stick to Giancarlo Esposito as Charles Xavier, even though I'm going to stick to Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto, even though that obviously can't happen. But those are my choices there. So just switching them around back and forth. One of those two. In one certain combination, I'm good with. Any final thoughts on Charles Xavier, Matthew?
No.
Not at all. Okay. All right, so the next one here is, I think we're getting to like the last one, I believe. The very popular one. So we have Logan Wolverine. So this one's going to be the most probably controversial. Whoever they cast at this point, because everyone has their opinion or whatever, and that may not like the choice. Although I know a lot of people didn't like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Logan, initially because he was too tall. Because the character is like 5'3" and Hugh Jackman's like 6'2", 6'3" or whatever. So, so like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to Wolverine, he is coming back in Deadpool 3, played again by Hugh Jackman. So we're fine there. But I don't think Hugh Jackman is going to stay as the character anymore. I think this one more like a last thing. Like, okay, I'll help Ryan Reynolds finally appear in a Deadpool movie in a significant role as Wolverine. So that's why I don't think Hugh Jackman will be Wolverine moving forward as in the MCU. So there's a couple of choices here. And let me see here. Oh, let's talk about the powers. The powers and abilities of Wolverine. Okay, so we have enhanced strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, dexterity, and reaction time, superhuman senses and animal-like attributes, regeneration and slowed aging, indestructible bones via adamantium infused skeleton, retractable adamantium claws, master hand-to-hand competent, and martial artist. So those are the powers and abilities of Logan Wolverine. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so here's the fan casting that I would do that is not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen because there's already another actor portraying a Marvel character somewhere else. And that's Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy as Wolverine. I think he would probably be my first choice had we not already have Tom Hardy as Venom in the Sony Spider-Verse or Spider-Man Venom-verse. But I think he would have been good. I don't think Tom Hardy is really that tall.
He's very short, actually.
And he has the acting chops. He's an Oscar nominee. People like him. He was Bane. He's Venom now. I think he would have been a very great choice to take over the mantle of Wolverine, Tom Hardy. What are your thoughts on this, Matthew?
I also thought about this, but like you said, he already plays Venom, but he would also be like one of my top 2 picks.
Right, so that would totally pick him as Wolverine. But yeah, he's doing Venom. I don't think Sony is gonna give up Tom Hardy so that he can do another character, a Marvel character, MCU character. Plus, I don't know how that would work. Like if they could find a way for it to work, that'd be cool. But I don't think that could happen. So most likely, no Tom Hardy as Wolverine, but I would have liked him to. So here's my choice, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily agree with this, but I would pick Taron Egerton as Logan Wolverine. He was in recently in the show Blackbird, Apple TV Plus. We have someone here, ATEC21. Where is it here? Oh, John Bernthal. Oh, that's the guy from Punisher, right? The Netflix show.
Yeah.
That's another situation there because I don't know if is the MCU recognizing that the Marvel shows from Netflix, are they recognizing it or not? Because I don't know what they're doing with Daredevil.
Me
Like, is it
neither.
the same one? Is it a different one? Are they gonna bring John Berthal as Punisher
Punisher.
eventually in the MCU, and maybe that's why he wouldn't be Wolverine? So I don't know. But this is my choice here: Taron Egerton or Egerton as Logan Wolverine. He has the acting chops. Kingsman. He
Oh
was in
yeah.
that show Blackbird, which is really good on Apple TV Plus. He has the look. I already said he has the acting chops. Like you see in this image here, he definitely has the physique. I think he has the ability to have chest hair. I think like Logan, like Wolverine. I think he does. And if he just like puts even more weightlifting and all that stuff, he'll also be even more ripped. And I think he's a good choice for Wolverine moving forward. And I think there's a better picture here. This is the Boss Logic version. Taron Egerton as Wolverine. This is from Boss Logic. This is what I think of when I think of Taron Egerton as Wolverine. This image right here. Even that outfit. I even like that outfit. Like, it's not too corny and too like weird looking.
Too bright.
Like, it's like, I think it work. I think this particular outfit would work. And because the way it looks in the cartoon, like the animated one, that exact look wouldn't really translate well on film. Like, it'll look too goofy. But this one still has a bit of the colors, but the blues are like navy blue, like dark, but has the yellow. And Taron Egerton, like I said, then it gets the beard. Yeah, I totally see this. What are your thoughts on Egerton as Wolverine?
I could definitely see this. Personally, I would prefer Carl Urban to play Wolverine.
Carl Urban, I was thinking of that too, but I think like
He's a bit tall,
like with the
actually.
other ones. Well, I was thinking more about. I think he's in his 50s. So is he
Oh.
gonna restart a franchise? Because you kind of have to look in that too, because like, are they gonna commit to a 10-year commitment probably as Wolverine? And Wolverine's like the character, the
Yeah.
main guy for X-Men. So is he really gonna commit to that? And I'm sure he's not even done with The Boys. I don't know how many seasons The Boys is gonna
It's
have,
true.
and he's like the main guy in that
Yeah.
franchise. So there's that. Any other thoughts on this choice, Matthew?
No, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. Actually, be happy with it.
All right. So that's it now for the X-Men casting. There, I have. Well, actually, let's do a summary of what I picked. So let's go all the way back here. Let's see. Throughout while we were doing this, Matthew, did you think of any other casting of your own? Even if it's not these characters, but maybe other ones.
I just lost what I hold on.
Okay. All right. So let me go back and do the summary here. So again, so we just did the fan casting of the MCU X-Men, and we have another comment here. At Tech21 it says, I agree. I think it's talking about Edgerton.
Yes.
He looks like he can fit that role perfect. Yeah, totally agree with that. Let's see here. So the summary here. So here are my choices. So Jean Grey, I would have picked Rachel Evan Wood as the character. When it comes to Iceman, I know initially I had mentioned maybe a Nick Jonas, depending on which age, but I think I'll stick to Justice Smith as Iceman, so that'll be my choice there. If they bring in the LGBTQ plus thing in there with this character, I think he'll be good. Nick Jonas can do it too, but like I said, it depends on which version of Iceman they want to bring in, which age, younger, older. And then when we did the Jubilee, I picked Mikey Madison, who's in Scream 5. And the next one here was Storm. And Storm, I initially picked Nathalie Emanuel as Storm, but I changed my mind in the last minute and decided that she'll probably be a better fit as Storm, as Janelle Monáe from Knives Out. And I think she's a singer or a rapper or something like that. So that's her there. And who was the next one? Oh, Cyclops. For Cyclops, again, I had initially thought of them. Maybe they can bring in Nick Jonas, Scott Summers, Cyclops. But I think I'll stick to Glenn Powell as Cyclops. So that was my choice there. then Gambit. Gambit, I had no alternate, so I picked Austin Butler as Gambit. So I think he'll be perfect choice for this character. He has the look, the acting chops. I think he can totally pull off that accent. Then we got to Magneto, and then we get to Magneto and Professor X. That's where we're kind of like all over the place with it. At least with me, is I would like to see Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto for some of the reasons that we mentioned here earlier, and Professor X. We have Mark Strong as Professor X. Professor Charles Xavier. But then again, I also said Giancarlo Esposito as Professor Charles Xavier, and like I mentioned earlier, we can change these around. We can have Mark Strong as Magneto. I'll be fine with that too, so that Giancarlo Esposito can do Charles Xavier, or vice versa, whatever. So I would like to see that. Let's see what actually happens. And then we did the X-Men. The Wolverine casting there, and initially I had said Tom Hardy, but I don't think he can do that because of Venom. So I ended up picking Taron Egerton as Wolverine. So that was my choices there for X-Men. Any other thoughts, Matthew?
Well, I just thought of Jason Isaacs as Magneto, actually. That came to mind. He played the villain in The Patriot.
Oh, Jason Isaacs. Oh, okay. Again, I think he's older.
Yeah, he definitely is older.
So again, I don't know if he'll be able to restart a franchise. But yeah, that would be a good choice. And let's see if there's anything else here. Okay. So that was it for the fan casting of the X-Men. So now, at this point, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to announce the winner for the Funko Pop Spider-Man that I announced on December 31st. And now when it comes to the giveaways, the Funko Pop giveaways, the whole reason why I do them is to kind of expose my channel to more viewers. YouTube is very competitive. There's a lot of people posting shit everywhere. So in order to get people in, I do these little giveaways, so I can get subscribers and sample the content on the Movie Canon YouTube channel. So subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. For the contents, the videos that we're doing, and follow me on Instagram at the Movie Canon, because I put some other stuff on there too, and I announce a lot of giveaways that will eventually get into a YouTube video there. So that's why we do these Funko Pop giveaways, or giveaways in general, just to expose, the channel to more viewers and so on. So we got that, and the Funko Pop giveaway that I did was for this Spider-Man. So the winner of this is YouTube Movie Canon subscriber and Instagram follower at Alu, sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, Skywalker. So congratulations to Alu Skywalker. You are the winner. If you have a mailing address within the United States, because that's one of the requirements, because I can't ship anything out of this country, or at least it'll cost me too much money to try to do that. So if you have a mailing address within the United States, I already see that you're a subscriber and follower, so thanks for following that. So she was selected. She's one of the names that was selected, or the name that was selected, and she is the winner. So congratulations to her. I'll announce it on Instagram later, either later today or tomorrow, in case she's not watching this. But she is the winner, and I'm also announcing a new Funko Pop giveaway. This video was about X-Men fan casting, so I'm doing a X-Men Funko Pop giveaway. So let me see here. I'm trying to get the image of it. Okay, there it is. So this is the new Funko Pop giveaway, X-Men. So you see Angel, Gambit, Wolverine, and the comic cover version, and then Beast. So the winner's not going to win all of these, but they get to choose one of them. I'm guessing most people are going to pick Wolverine. So that's the new Funko Pop giveaway. If you're watching live, like I see ATIC21, so your name and your subscriber and a follower. And if Chino Cakes is still in there, I'll add him twice in there. I know he's a follower and subscriber because I know he's won before. So those two people will be added. Their names will be entered twice for this Funko Pop giveaway. And whenever I announce the winner of this, it'll probably be on the live stream as well. Or maybe sometimes I do it on Instagram, but I'll let you guys know. So that's the new Funko giveaway. Read the instructions in that Funko Pop giveaway post that I did. There's a lot of instructions there. Just for more chances for you to win. So there's the minimum requirements that are on there. So follow that. Do not post your comments under the how to enter giveaway post, because that's not what the instruction is telling you to do. So you're supposed to come onto this video and put your comment there that you are a subscriber and an Instagram follower. So just read those details. The minimum requirements are not that much. It's just you just have to be a subscriber, Instagram follower, must have a mailing address within the US, and give it a like to this video. Like in this case, since I announced the X-Men Funko Pop here, so you would do that here in this video, in this live stream, or later on when it's not live anymore, you can post it here. So that's where you do it, not at the enter Funko giveaway post or whatever on Instagram. So that's where you do it here. So that's the giveaway here. And let me see if there's anything else. Matt, did you want to add anything else today?
Nope.
No, okay. All right, so that was the very first episode of the fan casting of, in this case, it was the X-Men MCU. So the winner was announced, Spider-Man Funko. I announced a new Funko Pop giveaway of X-Men. Like I said, follow the instructions. I'll post new stuff on, or new details about the giveaway on Instagram, so keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, more giveaways, and so on. Follow us on the Movie Canon on Instagram. And Matthew, any plugins you want to do in there?
You can follow my Instagram at MATTHOOH and my YouTube at the same handle.
All right, so there you go. So thank you everyone who was watching this live, or if you watched this after the fact, thank you so very much. And more content to come. So thank you everyone, and I'll see you guys a little later, or just later, I guess.